Hey everybody, Justin Cook here, and today I want to make a video that focuses on not just one of the best movies of 2018, but also one of the best thrillers I've seen in years, period, which is Anish Gandhi's Searching. I was lucky enough to catch this movie in a theater by me in limited release last week, and then I just saw it again this weekend, and I'm not exaggerating when I say, on top of this being an incredibly inventive, twisted, engaging, crowd-pleasing, dynamic, edge-of-your-seat thriller, it also provides the most honest representation of the internet and modern technology that I've seen on screen to date. There are moments in this movie that will send chills down your spine, make you laugh, make you cry, and especially in my case, want to see it again. Not just because of those impactful, goosebump-worthy moments, but because it is chock full of Easter eggs and details, which is what today's video will focus on. For those of you who are unaware, Searching stars John Cho as David Kim, a father who's searching for his daughter Margot, who goes missing, leaving him and a detective played by Deborah Messing to uncover the mystery behind her disappearance. And what this sets this movie apart from, at least on a surface level, from other similar movies in the genre, is that the film is told from the point of view of smartphones and computer screens. But before I delve any further and reveal some of the many Easter eggs, side plots, foreshadowing, and more hidden throughout this film, I absolutely want to issue a spoiler warning from here on out. If you have not seen this movie yet, I highly recommend coming back to this video after you check it out. I can almost guarantee you won't be disappointed by it, and it's one of those movies that you really want to experience with a crowd who's being taken on the same roller coaster ride you're on. Alright, let's get started. So, as I mentioned before, Searching is chock full of Easter eggs, so many that it'd be impossible to catch them all in just a few viewings, but I have identified a large number of them of varying size and importance that are super interesting and will undoubtedly change the way you look at this film in a major way. Let's start off with the bigger ones. In the opening montage of the film, we see a peek at Margot's Facebook account, and on the trending tab to the right of the screen, we see the name Laura Barnes is trending number 1. If that name sounds familiar, it's because it's the name of the high school student who commits suicide and comes back to haunt her former classmates in 2015's Unfriended, which is another movie that takes place on entirely computer screens and was produced by Timur Bekmambetov, one of the producers of Searching as well. This confirms that these two Screen Life movies exist in the same universe. Next up, I'm sure if you've seen the movie, you know that John Cho's Dave loses his wife to lymphoma. While no attention is ever paid to it, in the iMessage text conversations on David's computer, keep an eye out for a woman named Hannah Couch. Throughout the movie, she and David exchange numerous text messages and emails. The first text sent by Hannah at the beginning of the movie reads, "I'd love to grab another drink if you're free," indicating that David may have considered pursuing a romantic relationship with this woman after his wife's death. We can see later, towards the beginning of Margot's disappearance, Dave texts back, quote, "So it's just the timing of it all," indicating that he has turned her down. After the hashtag Find Margot campaign starts, when Margot is believed to have been abducted, Hannah sends David a message that says, "Do you need anything?" Additionally, later in the movie, when Margot is thought to be dead, Hannah sends David a solemn email with the subject line, "I'm so sorry." Now, perhaps the biggest, most insane Easter egg I was able to pick up on throughout this movie is that there's clearly something very strange going on in the sky, potentially even an alien invasion. On 6abc.com, in the early scenes of the film, one of the articles on the side has a headline that mentions how NASA is reporting a, quote, electromagnetic anomaly. Later on Facebook, the number one trending topic is, quote, the anomaly in the sky, which apparently has to do with reports of green lights being seen in the sky. Continuing this thread, a breaking news ticker when Margot's car is found says that there's, quote, no support to extraterrestrial claims. Another article seen later on 6abc.com says that an ex-NASA chief disputes extraterrestrial claims. However, a later article headline reads that a NASA informant is dead by a gunshot wound in an impaired suicide. This side plot plays out throughout the entirety of the rest of the film too. Under Find Margot on Twitter, the second trending topic is hashtag Green Lightning. A YouTube video claims to feature real footage of an alien sighting. The ABC website reports a NASA research center is being upgraded, and later that NASA has called an emergency announcement at the White House. An article with an image of an alien as a thumbnail claims that aliens are, quote, hiding in plain sight. An article headline that says that the US president has scheduled a groundbreaking announcement is also seen later in the movie. And lastly, during the scene where Margot is rescued, a bizarre flickering star article can be seen on a website as well. So all this could mean that aliens exist in this universe. We don't know if this world is on the precipice of an alien discovery. And even more than that, this could all somehow lead into another one of Timur Bekmambetov's Screen Life movies, possibly about an alien invasion. We'll have to wait and see what happens. Alright, so those are definitely like the bigger Easter eggs, but the rest of the Easter eggs I was able to pick up on, while more minor details, are still extremely cool nonetheless. To get started with these, toward the beginning of the movie, the article on the front page of the ABC website says that a hiker who was trapped for 9 days was rescued, which of course parallels Margot's fate later in the film, since she goes missing and is eventually found on a difficult terrain too. Also throughout the film, we see emails from a lady named Dr. Aparna Vadlamani, who prescribes David the medication trazodone, which is an antidepressant. A really neat detail is that later in the film, we see an ad for Zyplar, another antidepressant, on a website that David is on, indicating that his search history and research on antidepressant medications has resulted in a catered ad based on his search data. There are also a ton of references to filmmaker M. Night Shyamalan throughout this movie too. Of course, the director of The Sixth Sense and Signs, and most recently Split. This is a filmmaker that director Anish Gandhi cites as his biggest filmmaking influence. We see his name trending on Facebook under the aforementioned Anomaly in the Sky topic. And actually, this next one was confirmed by co-writer and producer Sev Ohanian, who, side note, has been super active on Reddit and social media, answering questions and providing insight into this movie. But anyway, in a Facebook post that David finds Margot tagged in, featuring her eating alone, all the students' names in the post are named after M. Night Shyamalan characters, including David Dunn from Unbreakable, Ivy Walker from The Village, Lynn Sear from The Sixth Sense, Audrey Dunn from Unbreakable, and Bo Hess from Signs. Moving on to the next Easter egg, hashtag catfish is trending on Twitter at the beginning of the movie, which is fitting because Margot is getting catfished by Detective Vic's son Robert, who's posing online as Fish and Chips. Also, Evercreek High School is the home of the catfish, as we see on signs and banners throughout the movie, foreshadowing this reveal. And of course, the name Fish and Chips itself hints at this eventual catfish reveal. Speaking of Robert, the cover photo on his mother's Facebook page is a quote that says, "A mother's love for her child is like nothing else in this world," foreshadowing the length she goes to cover up what she believes is the murder of Margot by her son. Another really interesting detail is when Margot first goes missing and David logs back onto his wife's account on his old computer to get back in touch with some of the people he thinks Margot may be friendly with, the second contact he opens up is that of Robbie Abel, a boy who is described as, quote, having a crush on Margot. It was confirmed by Sev Ohanian that Detective Vic did get a divorce from her husband, meaning that her son Robert's last name isn't necessarily Vic, which further indicates that Robbie Abel is Robert. On top of that, further evidence points to this being the case because when Vic's role in covering up her son's incident is revealed and she's taken into custody where we see her confession, she admits that Robert has always had a crush on Margot. Another very small detail is that when Vic tells David the story about his son raising funds for a fake charity from his neighbors, she mentions that he asked them for $25 each. This foreshadows Robert asking Margot for $2,500. Next up, when Margot and Robert first interact on the live streaming website Ucast, and they talk about their favorite Pokemon, Margot says that hers is Uxie because it can, quote, wipe out memories. Of course, a reference to wiping out the painful memories of her mother, probably at least in relation to her playing piano, which she quits because it reminds Margot of her mother. Robert, on the other hand, says his favorite Pokemon is Kecleon, presumably because he seeks the ability to camouflage himself due to him not fitting in. Moving right along, producer Sev Ohanian confirmed that in email conversations there is a side plot involving Margot's grandparents, and they're booking tickets from Korea to help with the search. Next, on the UCAST website, director Anish Gandhi is the top trending streamer under the username Anish815 in the category of movies. And very quick note, hashtag Greenlights is also trending on this page, referencing the whole alien subplot from before. Continuing on, Abigail, the girl who said she wasn't very close with Margot when David questions her, but then later cries and claims in a YouTube video that Margot was her best friend when she is thought to be officially dead, is the subject of Margot's frustration during the last scene in the movie, when we see a text from Margot's laptop that says that she doesn't want to be friends with her anymore. During this final scene, we can see on Margot's Spotify account that producer of the movie, Timur Bekmambetov, is listening to a song that I believe is called Model Minority, which is by an up-and-coming rapper named Anoop Shiganti, director Anish Shiganti's brother. And lastly, one of the funnier Easter eggs is from a news ticker towards the end of the film, which states that, quote, Hollywood producer wanted for murder of film editor. This is a tongue-in-cheek reference to Searching's majorly difficult editing process. It apparently took over a year and a half for the two editors assigned to this movie to assemble the film. And there's a great video on Twitter about all the work that went into just making one shot from the movie. I highly recommend checking that out. So those are just about all the Easter eggs I picked up on. Of course, these aren't all the Easter eggs in the film because there are so many. but in my opinion, it's a pretty comprehensive list. I know I'm personally going to look forward to going back and watching this movie more times and picking up on things that I didn't notice before. And if I miss some that you happen to see in the movie, feel free to comment them down below. Also, tell me your general thoughts on the movie in the comments too. Lastly, for more movie and TV related content, be sure to subscribe. I have a lot more coming your way, and I really appreciate everybody watching, and I hope you got as much enjoyment out of this movie as I did. Thanks a lot, and I'll see you next time.